Hello, Dom.
Hey, Narelle.
Hello, everyone out there. We are coming to you today from the medicine room in Mullaney. It's such a beautiful little dispensary here. I love coming to visit you here, Dom. It's such a beautiful space. Thanks for having me again. We are going to talk about a recent course that you just run online regarding stealth pathogens. Um, First of all, I'd just like to say that Dom is a fully qualified naturopath and herbalist and an incredible woman who has created this business in her home, and all of the beautiful medicines and body products are handmade still to this day, and I think there's something really magical and special about that. But right now, you're also offering education online, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So, we recently did an online course with regard to stealth pathogens and how we remove them from the body safely. So, let's kick it off with that. How did the course go?
The course went really well. Thanks to all the guys who came and joined me again. We talked about what each individual person's needs were with removal of stealth pathogens. So when someone does one of my online courses, it's not like everybody's doing the same course.
Yes.
Because when you enroll, we send you a questionnaire out of our clinical program in your patient file to ask you a bunch of questions about the topic that we're going to be studying. And then we assess everybody's answers and formulate a herbal medicine and give you a tea that's specific to what your needs are on that topic.
Yes, yeah. It's a wonderful way of doing things, and I've had the privilege of going through this process a couple of times with you, and I feel like my needs are really specifically met with what you offer. So if you don't make it through to the end of the material of the course, just to have the opportunity to have a diagnosis and then have something follow through specifically created for your needs with Dominique, it's worth it just for that. Just for that.
Okay. Because what we do is we have the education, and that's live online, and we use Zoom as the platform for that. I used to use social media, but I stay out of that now because we just do a live recording and of it, and everybody's there, and then we have a Q&A at the end. So we have a certain amount of educational evenings in each course. So with the Stealth Pathigen course, we went for 3 weeks. It was a 22-day course, and then there were 2 lessons a week online at 7 o'clock at night. We're there for an hour and a half. And they're recorded, and every student gets a recording of that the next morning.
Yes.
And then everybody asks questions to me through email. And everything that everyone sends me, I put in their clinical program as well. So anytime you communicate with me, I'm right up to date on exactly what your needs are.
Yeah.
Which I think is important. So it's like, the thing is, I know this might sound weird, but it's not up to me as the teacher of the course or the practitioner to make you better in any way. It's up to you to become empowered to use the resources that I provide, which is the herbs and the education, and be discerning and take out of the education the parts that you need. Yeah. And apply those to your life. So you're not applying everything in the course to your life.
Yeah, exactly. And what I also find about having those sessions online is the discussions that get brought up with every individual. And, you know, some of the stuff might not relate to you, but then other stuff might relate to you. And the thing is, you might not be aware of some of it until you hear someone else verbalize what's going on for them, and then the penny drops and like, oh yeah, that's been going on for me too. So it's such a great opportunity to be able to reflect on your own journey as well as listen to other people's, and then have all of those things addressed with you whilst you're face to face online as well, which is such a unique way of doing such sort of treatments and the education part as well.
Yeah, that's because when you hear what someone else is experiencing, it can trigger you into an awareness of, oh, I might have had that, or I know someone else who's got that, or, oh, thank goodness I don't have that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting. Like in the Stealth Pathigen course specifically, some really interesting things came up. The Stealth Pathigen course came because we did a detox course. We did a 14-day online detox course. That was run differently again. With that one, we had online education every night at 7 p.m. for 2 weeks. Or was it a week? I forget. It was this course that was intense because everyone was doing these detoxes together. So it was like some people were water fasting, some people were juice cleansing, some people were on wholesome vegetarian detoxes, some people were emotionally detox, whatever it was. It was so powerful. And then what came out of that was the Stealth Pathigen course. And what's come out of the Stealth Pathigen course is the next course we're running in February, which I'll talk about later. But right now, with the Stealth Pathigens, I learnt so much. And one of the things that we all experienced was the different layers of pathogens that people have in their bodies.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like we start with like the mucus, and people who have sinusitis and hay fevers and those kinds of things, and the mucus in the body, and how mucus can be such a great little home for pathogens of all kinds. And then if you can't get past the mucus, how are you going to take the stealth pathogens out of what's actually in your body, outside of the digestive tract, in the organs, in the blood, in the cells, which is a totally different, system of the body. So when you look at a stealth pathogen, is that a digestive pathogen? Is it in the large intestine? Is it things like parasites? Is it all that stuff? And it all came up, and we talked about it all, and we had these beautiful educational evenings where I focused on a topic, and the topic that I offered for education was always based on the emails and the communications I'd had with the students from the lesson before. So even though I knew that I had to cover certain things in the course, it was really patient driven, student driven, because I would know that this is a strong topic to cover. And the mucus was a massive topic to cover. And I've got people now doing that course still, from that course, who are still taking their herbs that are stripping the mucus out of the body, and they're still working on that.
It's such a beautiful way of offering education, Dom, because it is student led. I really felt like, for me personally, being a student within the course, that my needs were being met individually, and I actually can't think of another online education that's quite offered the same. Having such an intimate group, it's so lovely of you to take that on, because you spend so much time curating everybody's notes and making sure that they're all updated with what comes through from the emails and all that kind of thing. And so you really do, as a student, get the sense that you are being looked after, so intensely by a professional. And that's another great bonus to doing it online and having that small group scenario as well. And it is so focused. I think one of the best things for me as well too was hearing about the different layers of stealth pathogens and where they can hide in the body, and how the little things that we do every day can target those different layers so intently. I wasn't really aware of that. I mean, obviously, yes, aware of stealth pathogens and that they hide in the body, but not so much the whole layering concept of everything. So that was a real eye-opener for me. And, that was brought out through the conversations that we were having in those classes. So, yeah, just those little golden nuggets that come out of having those conversations are so incredible. And then you sort of pick that up and run with it and deepen the knowledge through that, which is incredible. So you really don't feel like you're just giving it a textbook lecture on something, I really feel like there's more heart and soul delivered with that as well, which is so beautiful. And now you've developed a follow-up course as well, which, it just seems so relevant that everything that comes up that you then follow on with.
Yeah, that's how it works. It's so interesting. I know, like, broadly, the topics that I want to talk about, but, like, for me, to deliver education and to it's something that has to be intrinsic, and it has to be not only from, like, I'm a perpetual student, and I'm also, I've got a lifetime of this. So this is really, since I was a teenager, this is what I've been doing. So it's not like I've come into it from something. I've been doing it.
Yeah.
It's my, I guess it's my dharma, it's my life, it's what I'm doing. And so I have every topic that I'm interested in. So that's why I pick one topic and I stay on that topic. So with Stealth Pathigens, for example, it opens up the whole plethora of, there's evidence-based best practice. There's also emerging sciences and trends. There's also development of pathogens in the world. There is a lot of environmental stuff we have to take into account. There's also traditional things that are there, like in traditional naturopathic practices and herbal medicine practices, and just home medicines for people, like home pharmacy. There's things. There's also the pharmaceutical industry and what they offer as far as all of this goes. There's so many things that can be taken into account when you offer education, and it's experiential as well, and for me it's very intuitive as well. So there's a degree of being a conduit in the process that I've always had with me since I was a child. It's like we all have. It's that awareness of our intuition. It's the awareness of what's right, and it's the trust in saying, you know what, I think I know enough about this topic that if somebody asks me a particular question, I can answer it from all of those perspectives I've just mentioned, from my level of education and experience. And hopefully what I say can contribute to helping that person open up their own mind to research, develop, and find the solution, because that's what we all need as individuals. We need a health solution. And when it comes to stealth pathogens, hey, they don't come in stealth. And that's the thing. We develop our own stealth pathogens. They happen in our body. And they happen in our body because when something enters the body, if I can just, like you talk about the different layers and how you liked that, if I can just talk to the lovely people that are listening to us about exactly what you just said. Do you want to hear that? Do you want?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very relevant knowledge for people. So
okay, so like for example, like if you have an allergen and you breathe an allergen in, it's an airborne allergen, and it's something like it could be like the lineals in the eucalypts here are classic examples, or it could be like mold is a huge problem with airborne allergens in the district where we live on the Sunshine Coast here in Australia. So, you know, you breathe that in, and then the body's mucus is like an incredible thing because our body makes it to protect us, to encase those allergens, and then the best case scenario is we get rid of that mucus straight away. So you're going to blow it out of your nose, or you're going to spit it out. You're not going to let it go into the lungs, and you're definitely not going to swallow it to go into the digestive tract. You're getting rid of it. That's the best case scenario. There's a massive avoidance, preventative medicine at its best. And if you're that way inclined. But then if that isn't the case, and it goes into the lungs, when it goes into the lungs, it's got a one-way fast-track ticket into the organs of your body, into your bloodstream, and into your body proper. So anything that comes in through the lungs goes in through the bloodstream, and the bloodstream operates through the whole body. And that elimination for those things is either through urine or it's through sweating. It's pretty well the only way we're going to get rid of them. But if it's swallowed and it goes into the digestive tract, the mucus forms massive straps, and it can harbour so many things to grow and develop. And our microbiome, there's more of that than there is us, and that's everywhere. And so pathogens, they find a little hidey hole, they develop, they breed, they get happy, they create their colonies. They're like the colonialists on our body. And they come in and they just do all this stuff, and they're breeding and they're speciating and they're doing all their things, and then that makes everything harder for us.
That's right, and it's in such deep layers. Once it gets into your internal digestive system, then you really have to be a bit more targeted and concentrated on the kind of treatment that you're using to try and get rid of these pathogens, right? Because then they start to cause other dis-ease in the body if they stick around too long, don't they?
Yeah, and then you know what, they evade our immunity. And so our immunity goes, oh, hello, there's little Freddie, my pathogen friend, and he's got his whole city growing over here. It's a bit like Catan, you know, like he's growing his city, and it's all full of all, and then you know, so it evades immunity, and then our defences are lower, and there's less of us and more of them, and then there's more toxicity, and that can just move through the body in so many ways. And then we make the terrible mistake of going, oh, I'm going on a parasite cleanse, and I'm going on a parasite cleanse for a week or a day, or I'm going to give myself this and it's going to get rid of it. Well, it doesn't. It only gets rid of the meddling and the weak, and the strong ones just find the bigger hidey hole. They go up, and then they learn to evade these things as well. And so if you're going to do a pathogen course, if you want to do stealth pathogen removal, if you want to get rid of parasites, if you want to get rid of viruses, if you want to get rid of mold, fungus, all the rest of it, that could be even like little residues in the body from old illnesses and disease that are sitting there. There's so many things to this, and we're just having this conversation now, but it's so you can see the layers. And you don't do it for a week, you don't do it for 2 weeks, you do it for an extended period of time.
So you really need to get in there, and, you know, like you said, it's just the weak ones that kind of get put out of the body by those shorter treatment times, but the stronger ones can find a deeper place to rest and hide, and you know better off, really, because then they just keep breeding, right?
So you're worse off in the end. Because then things happen, like, say, for example, you've had something like Epstein-Barr virus is a classic case of something that, you know, could be classified in this arena of stealth pathogens, where, you know, Ross River fever, dengue fever, any of the viruses that come through. Lyme's disease is a classic case. Anything with tick bites, there's so many different tick bite illnesses that turn into stealth pathogens. There's so many things that can turn into a stealth pathogen in your body, and it's no good giving it a short treatment, and it's definitely no good giving it a hard and fast treatment. Like anything that's got nephroquinines in it, that's a class of active constituents that increases the peristalsis, which is the movement of the smooth muscle from your mouth to your anus, and it helps digestion. That's how food gets digested. There's a whole lot of stuff with that. Anything that increases that peristalsis, like the nephroquinine class of parasite removals, they really give a message to the strong pathogens to run up and hide in the pockets. As soon as you take it, as soon as they recognise that there's a difference in this movement of the smooth muscle, they're already hiding. They're already building their new base camp up on Mount Bow. You know, they're already in there doing it. And so I like sneaking up on them, gentle, sneaking, persistent, consistent. And you know, it's just like doing that, and you can do that in our food. We can eat lots of garlic. You know, we can eat pumpkin seeds. We can have clove buds. We can have the little seeds inside pawpaw. There's a whole lot of foods that we can take that are really good anti-parasitic herbs. But then when you talk about antivirals, like things like the Lyme's illnesses, the Ross River fevers, the Epstein-Barr's, all this kind of stuff, any viruses that we have, even like can talk about long COVID here, we can talk about anything that's of a viral nature or a mold nature or a fungal nature or a bacterial nature. The liver has over 500 functions. If they get caught in the liver, they can go into the cells of our body. If we've got compromised cellular integrity, you know, it just goes deeper. Can you hear how it goes deeper into the
absolutely,
body?
100%.
Deeper and deeper and deeper into the body, and the longer they're there, they become more of us. Our immunity is just waving hello to them every time it walks past them. It's just, oh yeah, hey, how you going today? Oh yeah, I'm great. Oh, you look like you've grown. Oh yeah. I'm doing good.
So, you know, really educating ourselves in the kind of pathogens or stealth pathogens that can be found in our body when we're feeling a particular way, or when we keep noticing that there is a certain action that our body keeps performing, like, producing a lot of mucus, more mucus than what we're usually used to.
Yeah.
Or, when we start to notice these functions of our body working overtime, that would probably be a great sign that there's something going on, right?
Okay, chronic fatigue syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
This is a cascade that's a deadly cascade because it leads to autoimmune diseases.
Yeah.
So, it's continuous.
Yeah.
And then disability, inflammation is a precursor to chronic conditions. That many chronic illnesses are coming out of this in the body. We're talking arthritis. We're talking rheumatoid arthritis. We're talking all kinds of things. Any inflammatory condition, cardiovascular illnesses.
Yes.
All of these things can be directly put back to a pathogen that entered the body that wasn't removed in some way. And blood tests aren't that good. You can have blood tests and you can have HemoView, or you can have live blood analysis, or you can have whatever you want. But what it's only going to show is what's in the blood at that time.
Yes.
And so there's been a lot of research done into tick diseases, and this is really good research to show that some particular tick diseases move in and out of the blood.
Wow.
So you can have a blood test at one time and it's there, and a blood test another time and it's not there.
Wow.
We've also got to recognise the fact that science is, I always say this, and I'll say this, and I think it's always the case, science is always in its infancy.
Yeah.
Science can only measure certain things, and they only measure what they've set it up to measure. A lot of money goes into those measurements and being able to analyse what's in the blood.
Yes.
And it's only being measured on things what the pharmaceutical industry see as relevant to what they can cure. So we're dealing in a world where the money's going into the research of what is considered somewhere where they can make money from it as well.
Yeah.
So the money goes into where they can reap the most rewards with science and research. And so when you get tested, you're only being tested for what we will have to call popular things, or things that are on
relevant
trend.
In it
Yes,
now. Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
So there's so many things that aren't even being tested for.
Yeah,
That
it's so
we
true.
don't even know exist.
Yeah, and we see that with the information that's newly available to us every year, and it's getting more and more. It's every year there's something new that pops up, and even every month there's something new that pops up, and we see that reflection in books that are released, in audio books, in podcasts that are now available, in the relevant treatments our doctors are now offering, in the relevant studies that are being offered at university. There are so many new things that are coming out all the time, and that has to do with that subject.
Yeah. So one of the main things with this, on the topic of stealth pathogens, is that when you look at all of the epi-nutrient research that goes on for longevity, which is super popular at the moment, and you look at all of the research around, like how we can keep the cells of our body younger and all of this kind of thing. There's so many different therapies that are being offered, but let's just get back to the basics on it. Let's just say that if you've got pathogens in your body, you need to get rid of them, and that's going to give you a better chance at all these other things. So it's no good just diving into I think I want to live until I'm 130 or whatnot.
Yes.
Without addressing the present situation and without addressing the now in our environment. And there's so many new strains of viruses, so many cross-species viruses, there's so many things that are just constantly happening. It's like the world is becoming more and more toxic in some ways, but in other ways we need to become more and more pure, and we need to be able to take our resilience to the environment around us. And that's why having good microbiome, having strong pathogens, stealth pathogens of the good kind in our body is important too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess, to best be able to do that would be to have a very regular regime of checking in with yourself, understanding what's normal for your body and what's not quite normal for your body, seeking out different ways to remedy this in a long-term way, rather than like what you said earlier with a hard fast regime or something you can just take now that's going to fix this one little symptom of what's going on for you. It's actually looking at the whole picture, going a little bit deeper and thinking, okay, what is the long-term thing I can keep doing for myself that's going to then prevent this happening again in the future, or even just keep something on an even keel, you know?
Yeah, look, there's some really simple things that people can do that might go against the grain for a lot of people, me saying this. But one of the things that I think you should stay away from as much as possible is plastics of all kinds, with the nanoparticles and the plastics
absolutely.
and all of the PBAs and everything that's in there, because they're tiny, they're minute, and they easily become part of you. So that's a problem. The other thing is old processed food, like those instant noodles that come in from overseas, and things that are flour and things that are sitting there for a long time, things that have got life in them, like dirty food, like anything that I've seen some really scary research into like unfresh sushi and fish like that, and the things that grow on them, and meats, and all these things that can have so many pathogens on them, because remember how tiny they are.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
they're tiny.
Yeah,
and even if you are doing like a parasite, I think sorry, I'll just stay on that for a second about what not to eat. Just eat clean, fresh things.
Yeah.
Have really clean, fresh water. Have good water. So if your water's full of giardia or something, there's no point in drinking that. Like, have good water filters. I hate the fact that people buy water in plastic bottles.
Yeah.
Like, that's something, and that's, I don't know. It's just the world's gone the wrong way in so many ways with this.
It's counterproductive, really, isn't it? If we're just looking after our water at the source at home with good filtration systems, and looking after ourselves with that in itself, and then, like you say, a nice clean fresh diet, cutting out any processed foods, eating things as fresh as you can, like fresh from the markets, fresh from the garden, rather than going to buy things from the supermarket that have been through a packaging process, and all of these other things. And sometimes that's not always possible, right? Like, we have to be real about it. People might live far away from these kinds of services or whatever, but where you can, do what you can.
Yeah, my book, The Wellness Zone, covers all of this. That's available on Amazon, guys. If you want to get one, we don't have copies here anymore, but Aon, my publisher in the UK, have got lots and lots of copies, and you can buy it on Amazon, which is a place to get these things these days. I've bought so many great books over the years. We're in my library now, and it's just full of all my medical books. It's just amazing. I just love education, and so the thing is, if we can keep it out to start with, that's like the best prevention. But that's not going to ever be possible 100%.
No.
Yeah. And we all have our things. Like, there's always situations and times and changes and cycles in life that expose us to pathogens and parasites more. And travel is one of those moments and experiences. And we've got some great travel herbs for parasites and pathogens, and we do need to do something on that one day, because it's worth talking about.
Yeah, okay. Stick that in the
list of the
library in the brain.
Yeah.
No, and it's so, and this is the other thing, when you can't get what you need from your food, or you're in a position that you have gotten into a situation where you feel like there is something going on with your body, then being able to find you online, or to come to your community clinics here in Mullaney, or to see you at the markets, and be able to have a chat about what's going on for you and receive those herbs straight away. That's such a great service that you offer for people to be able to come and see you and have those conversations.
Yeah.
And be treated straight away.
Yeah. Like, I'm very happy to do that. I've been doing that for a long time. But just on that note, it's so many of us doing that. So it's not just me. There's lots of other practitioners. And the herbs, the really, really good herbs for you to have, I'm just going to list them here, because I think it's important that you have access to these herbs. And one of them is black walnut hulls, Juglans nigra, its name is botanically. And it's a very good parasite herb. It's a very good anti-carcinogenic herb. You find that a lot of the parasite herbs are also traditionally in herbal medicine what we'd call the anti-cancer herbs.
Yeah.
They pull out so many cobwebs and toxins and poisons out of the body.
Great.
And that's why doing an extended parasite cleanse and doing an extended pathogen cleanse, even if you don't know if there's something there, you don't need to wait to be diagnosed from the elusive, undiagnosable world to do this. So it's something I recommend people do regularly.
Yeah.
So Jacqueline's Nigra Black Walnut House, Carissa papaya, pawpaw. So it's a pawpaw leaf I'm talking about. You can make pawpaw leaf tea. You can make pawpaw leaf extract. The pawpaw inside this pawpaw seeds inside the fruit are anti-parasitic as well. They also contain papain. It's an active constituent for digestion. Andrographis is another herb, and it's very bitter. It's a king of bitters, and bitter herbs, when your blood is bitter, parasites and pathogens don't like bitter blood. So it's a very good travel one, and it's very good if you're around and there's viruses or illnesses around, just drinking Andrographis tea, having Andrographis extract in your herbal extraction blend. Having Andrographis is really, really good. It's really super bitter, but it's really good for any kind of parasites, pathogens. Artemisia annua, Chinese wormwood. Artemisium, the active constituent in that, starves a peroxide bridge between the epithelium of your gut lining, for example, or the cells of your body, and tumours and cancers and parasites that are hanging on with a little bridge of like a little feeder tube. And they are often heme-loving, so they love iron. So if you think you've got parasites, if you're anemic, that could be something to look into. And then we've got, there's so many. Cat's claw, Uncaria tomentosa, is one of my favourite antiviral herbs. It's super protective. It's really good. It pulls the viruses out of the body. Specific viruses, specific things. There's specific herbs for that. But I think that when you're taking these things like allium, sativum, garlic, having a lot of garlic, it purifies your blood like nothing else. It really gets rid of the parasites. And having garlic in your diet, and you can easily make garlic extract at home, folks. Just get garlic, wash it, run it through your juicer, and then stick it in the fridge and make your own aged garlic. And it's such great medicine, cardiovascular medicine, but it's really good for parasites and pathogens. Paldiaco with the lapachol in it. Lapachol gets rid of like a lot of, especially things like Helicobacter pylori that are in the gut that is there.
Yeah, that's a nasty one.
Yeah, and that creates ulceration. And there's a whole lot of problems that go with them. And pumpkin seeds, of course, in your diet. Feeding your microbiome, things like cabbage, broccoli, all those things. I think that's a pretty good start for you. There's a whole lot of Trigonelliferum gracium, fenugreek. If you've got any mucus issues, it strips mucus really beautifully. Backhausia citriodora, that's an Australian one. Lemon myrtle, the lemon myrtle extract, lemon myrtle tea.
And
they're
it's
all
delicious.
Really, it's
totally at least
delicious.
That's a delicious one.
It is. And tea tree, the melaleucas are good as well.
Very
and
nice.
Eucalyptus, these are all really, really nice. And I think if you just do it regularly too, just be vigilant about it. Like if you get something, like if you get an itchy anus, for example, a classic sign of parasites, or if you get bloating, or if you have digestive issues, or if you are mucousy and you've got, if you get a lot of inflammation in the body, if you get signs that you think
there's something going on.
Yeah.
I've got to say, I think for the last 2 years, I've been doing a cleanse and detox every quarter, and I have felt so healthy because of it. Like less brain fog, less bloating, beautiful skin. Like just having really nice balanced skin. It's not overly oily. It's not overly dry. I just feel good in my body. I feel like I sleep better. All byproducts, obviously, of this, but I've just found that having that regular practice of detoxing has been so good on so many levels. And then just being aware of these other things that will come up and be triggered in my body. If something's not right, I can feel as soon as it's not right, rather than just waiting for the symptoms to come through and then feeling really off colour or really mucusy or whatever. You can sort of already, if you already got that regular regime, you can tell when your body is not feeling right.
Yeah.
And, you know, go and see your naturopath or talk to someone and get something straight away.
Yeah, it's interesting, all those things you just said. Good skin, reflection of good, like they say that the inside of your digestive tract is your skin. So your microbiome, all your gut, flora and fauna, like everything in your gut is reflected in your skin.
Yeah.
And so that's interesting. And then when you talk about detoxing regularly, like quarterly, like that's really awesome if everyone did that. Well, we would have a much healthier world, because you're making it, when you're doing that, you're making it lighter on your body to deal with everything. So what happens is you become more sensitive to triggers. So if a trigger goes off, you're more aware of it. And then if that happens, then you then will take action to resolve it. Whereas if you're not aware of it, if you're constantly just consuming, and this is the other thing that with our Stealth Pathigen course we looked at, and it's an interesting aspect of it, and that is that the eating and what you eat, and how you eat it, and how we emotionally eat, which brings us to our next topic of our next course. But it's very relevant what's happening with us emotionally, and what we eat and what we consume and what we allow to stay in our body, as in the toxins and the pathogens. And if you feel toxic, and if you feel unworthy and inadequate and upset and emotionally in your trauma or whatever it may be for you, then that's going to make it harder to even begin the process of this.
Definitely. The state of mind, I think that's huge, and it's such a vicious circle, isn't it? You know, because if you're not feeling healthy, then your state of mind isn't that great, but if your state of mind isn't that great, then you don't really feel like being healthy. So it really does, you just have to get to a point where you say to yourself, okay, this is not good for me, I need to make a change, and seek that change, seek out what's best for you in that change. And so, you know, just being in tune with your education and what you offer online, and keeping abreast of things on your social media, it's a great reminder of those chain reactions and those vicious circles we can get stuck in, and then there is help available.
Yeah, like there is help available, but it comes down to us, really, as an individual.
Got to make the choice.
Right? Because like if I'm there and I'm choosing food choices, for example, like what is the food choices that are going to serve me?
Yes.
And is this food choice, and is this craving a craving from my microbiome, from my little invaders in my body, or is this a craving from me?
Yes.
Is this something that I need that's going to be nourishing for me? Yeah, there's just so much to that when it comes to what we can do as individuals to look after ourselves. And if we're fostering an environment, like especially in our gut, that's like full of these beautiful, beautiful mucus sponges, where something that comes in that's relatively harmless when it enters my body just has this perfect breeding ground and becomes something that turns into a nightmare for me, that cascades into something that's toxic, that makes me feel sick. It spreads through my body, it gets into my organs, it gets into my cells, it gets into my blood, and then I start to have symptoms that I didn't know about, and then I might get chronic fatigue syndrome because it's become so big that it's also known as post-viral syndrome, and then I might get an autoimmune condition because everything's just in hyper alert, and I end up with a debilitating illness for the rest of my life. And that stemmed from potentially a trauma or an unresolved emotional issue in my body. It's pretty scary.
Yeah, it can be, but I think the beauty of this time that we live in right now is that we have so much at our fingertips to be able to be aware first of all, of what's going on, and then next how we can move forward in reversing that.
Yeah, and that's what I think my education is all about, because I'm not offering a one solution for everybody,
Exactly.
but I'm offering education on the topic so that each person can apply it to themselves. And I really do need to limit my class sizes to the class sizes that we've got now at like around 35 people, because I can really give everybody the attention they need at that level. So this next course, it looks like we probably will be closing it off, because on the last Stealth Pathogen I let it go over by some people, and I found that for me that just created so much more work for me. And I have to have it so that it's manageable for everybody.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. Well, what you're offering is something that's so unique and so individualized that you need to make it work for you too.
So here we are, 2024. We're looking at naturopathic consultations in a group environment where people are basically only paying for the medicine if they get the early birds. So the early bird is like $120, and you get a 500ml bottle of herbs, plus you get a 50 to 70 gram herbal tea for that. You get that posted to you. You get your questionnaire, you get the herbs formulated for you specifically, and then we look after you for the period of the course, and then we do a follow-up afterwards, and we help you with that. But the really cool thing is that I've got so many people that they've done a lot of my education over the years, and so I know them really well. And so when they ring me and something's going on and I formulate herbs for them, I'm able to go, oh, we need to actually incorporate a bit of that quality in as well, because when I'm formulating, I'm working with qualities. So what quality do we want to achieve from this herbal medicine? And then when you go the opposite way with something like a Stealth Pathigen course about what are we removing, that's a different approach. So the approach of removing something to the approach of taking on the quality of something is a different way of prescribing. And so my way of prescribing that I've kind of developed myself is about the qualities. So if you're feeling tired, I'm not like, oh, you're feeling tired. I'm like, well, the quality we want to develop here is recovery and energy. So with the next course that we're doing, and I'm happy to talk about that now if you want to.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so on the 22nd of January, we've got a free online course, because I just presented in November in the UK at the Herbal Medicine Conference for the UK Herbalists Association, and I presented on herbs I presented to practitioners on prescribing an element of herbs that are going to address the emotional body and the nervous system and the emotions in every formula that you make for your patients, taking into account that this is important, and talking about what I call the cortisol epidemic at the moment, where everyone's cortisol's out of control. And that is really the driver of this next lot of education that I'm doing. Is the cortisol, the emotions, and what people can do on a daily level to uplift their emotions, to feel emotionally stronger, to be more resilient, to have more capacity.
Yes, perfect. So there's a free course to start with?
Yeah, a webinar online. We've got I think it was around 40 people who've already enrolled in that. So we capped that at 100, under 100, because I can only have 100 on my Zoom. So we capped that there, and that's free. You can do that now, medicineroom.com.au. Go into our workshops and events, enroll in that, and I'll send you the link. And then we've got in February 11 days of the emotional course, and we're doing 4 educations in there. So we're doing 2 nights. 1 week, Tuesday, Thursday. So we're doing 4 nights of education. But it's an 11-day course, because everybody, and you get your herbal medicine, your tea. We fill out your form.
Perfect. So it's just a great little introduction to jump online for that webinar to start with and find out a little bit more and see if that's going to suit you. And then if there are places still left, because they are very limited, as Dom said, 35 people is the maximum. So and you've already got quite a few signed up. So jump online, see if it's for you, have a little look around, medicineroom.com.au, and then register for that free webinar and jump onto the course if you feel like it's going to suit you, because limited time only.
That's a funny thing. You use that style of marketing. I'm just like, oh, the right people will come. They'll do my course.
They do. That's the point.
This one here, I'm a bit worried about this one filling up too quickly, because we're at the Woodford Folk Festival as well, which is starting on the 27th of December.
Can't wait.
I know, it's going to be amazing. Yeah, it's going to be. Narelle and I work at Woodford together as well in the programming.
Yeah, so come say hi if you're at Woodford, and check out the Medicine Room stall and try some herbs, and
come to our classes. We've got 56 yoga and movement, breath work, chanting, all kinds of things.
Incredible.
In our yoga and movement program. Moving meditation, it's called, on the program.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for offering all of your wisdom on the stealth pathogen subject. I feel like we could have kept going for another couple of hours, because it does go into so many layers.
Yeah, well, we could. We haven't really talked about what you're going to eliminate in your diet. But just on that note, before we finish, when you're taking a really good course of pathogen herbs, your diet changes, your desire for food changes, and you instinctively know what you need to let go of and what you need to have more of.
True.
And that's really beautiful about the pathogen removal. And when you take it over a long period of time, like I'm talking 3, 6, 9, 12 months, 2 years even. I've got people who've been doing pathogen removals for 2 or 3 years, and they are so healthy, so vibrant. Their bodies are just really, really healthy. Because when you release that layer, you're really closing the door to risk factors exacerbating, and you're really opening the door to energy and vibrancy.
That's the point. Yeah, that's the point, is to have that vibrancy and the longevity that we all crave, so that we can live an incredibly happy life.
Yeah, the quality of life is what we want. So the gap between deterioration of quality of life and death, we want that to be the minimal gap.
Yes.
And we want to have as much vibrancy and energy and good health, pain-free, illness-free, medication-free. And when you're taking herbal medicines, we're not really taking, it's not like a medication.
Yes.
We're taking, it's herbs.
Supporting your own body to do the job it's made to do, right?
Exactly. And using Mother Nature as your tool and your resource.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Well, I can't wait for the next course. I'll be definitely jumping on that one.
Narelle is kind of forced into my courses because she works with me. So, and of course, everyone who works with me is offered my courses whenever they want to do them, because I want the people who work with me to be healthy and happy and wise and all the things.
Yeah, and I am. I'm very blessed to be working with you. Thanks so much again for sharing your wisdom, Dom. Looking forward to seeing what comes up after Woodford Folk Festival when we get back online.
Yeah, because we've got a new body wash as well, just telling you.
A surprise!
It's not a surprise anymore, because you're about to make a video with me. It's calendula with exactly the same as our calendula beautiful herbal skin nectar and herbal skin balm. I made it yesterday, and we're taking them to Woodford, and it's calendula hand and body wash in a 500ml bottle, sulfate free.
So good.
No nasties, and it's made, it's done, and it's on our, going to be on my, by the time this is up, it's going to be on my website.
It smells incredible, just saying. It's very uplifting and energizing scent that's with the mandarin.
Cause it's for sensitive skins, you see, like everything. It's got herbalist ratios of herbs in it, so it's loaded with herb. Huge amount of herb in there. Like, I put a lot of herb in all my stuff because we manufacture the herbal medicines here, and we have pure essential oils. And I don't use soap on my body, and I think that, like, it's so good for sensitive skins. I have so many patients who have eczema, psoriasis. They have all kinds of conditions, but when these conditions, let's talk about pathogens again. You know, if you've got these conditions, the medicine for it's nothing that you put on your skin. The medicine's on the inside for those things.
Yeah, definitely.
And so you like soothing herbs like calendula. They'll soothe anything with the body. You know, if you've been in the sun, the wind, or whatever. Of course they're soothing herbs, but they're definitely, I would not call them medicine for the conditions, because the conditions can only be resolved by removing what no longer serves us on the inside. And that's really the key when it comes to pathogen removal, when it comes to any of those illnesses. And a lot of skin conditions, and we haven't talked about this, are around pathogens.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's just a really good rule for life. Just keep it healthy on the inside.
Yeah, and imagine that you do all the work on the inside, you release all your old stuff, you eat well, you look after yourself. Imagine what a world would be. Be so healthy, beautiful.
We need more Doms in the world.
There's a lot of Doms around. I'm just one of them.
Doing all the good work. Yeah.
You're one of them too. She's a Dom. That's funny.
Awesome. Well, get online, grab some body wash, sign up for the webinar, and we'll see you again.
She does the things I hate doing. Okay, thank you everyone.
medicineroom.com.au.
Bye.
Bye.
How do you turn this off?